All right, 99.9 Punk World Radio FM. You guys already know what time it is. Right here, we are actually joined by a phenomenal individual. He's actually one third of an amazing group. This guy's been in the punk rock community for over 20 plus years doing his thing. We have Dan of L.I.F.O right here live on the radio, 99.9 FM, and of course, Facebook and YouTube as well. Dan, how are you doing this afternoon?
Doing real well. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, you are most certainly welcome. I almost slipped up for some reason and said this morning. So clearly I'm on some Australian time or something like that.
No, that's fine. No, I know we're a little ways away, so I totally get it.
Yeah, if you know, you're out there in, I believe, obviously, like on the East Coast, but you're out there actually out in New York, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Actually, I'm on the West Coast. I'm all the way near California.
Oh,
so
damn. I should have guessed that, especially by the sunlight coming through your window right now.
Yeah. So is it bad? Should I adjust that?
Oh, no, man. It looks great. It looks great.
Right.
I can just say that I can see some sunlight, right? So
yeah,
if it was East Coast, it would definitely be dark right now.
Absolutely. No, I'm at Nevada, in Nevada right now.
Oh, nice, man. How's the weather out there in Nevada, man? Because I heard it's obviously like really dry and like really hot, man. What is it like actually this time of year?
It's pretty hot right now. You know, it's really warm right now. It's not typical, but it's a little more warm than usual, how it would be. We've had a lot of rain, things like that. We had a crazy winter, but other than that, it's a little warm, but that's all I have to complain about.
Yeah, man, down here in Canada, we're currently getting our summer right now, man. I would say it's probably feeling about like 95, maybe 98 degrees after the conversion, but I'm telling you, it's our Canadian summers get absolutely ridiculous.
Oh yeah. No, it's I'm originally from Arizona, and man, that place is really dry. And they always have a saying from there. They go, well, it's a dry heat. And I would always say, well, so is a freaking oven. You know what I mean? Like, that's not an argument. It's horrible. So, man, I know getting baked out there, quite literally from the inside, summers were horrible. So I'm so glad to be, where I'm at now.
And also, Dan, I know you're a very busy individual, man, so I'm going to dive right into this interview, man, but I got to take you back to the beginning of your amazing band, L.I.F.O, and I have to ask, man, what is the story behind this phenomenal band? And of course, like, how did you and the other members originally get connected at the beginning?
Yeah, so it started, back in 2000, I would say 2001. And I wasn't originally a part of the group at the time. It was someone by the name of Dustin, Mike, and Kyle. And those guys started the group. I was in another punk rock band at the time. It was all kind of centered around the pop punk theme. I mean, we were listening to bands like Anti-Flag and I don't know, Blink-182, bands like that. So everybody was kind of centered around that. But it started with these three guys, and I was really close to them. We grew up together, but they were kind of doing their own thing. And eventually I joined them, and we had kind of like a tragedy hit that we had lost our drummer, Dustin, at the time. And we really kind of went full throttle from there. It was Mike, myself, and we had gotten a man by the name of Ryan Propogio, who's a phenomenal drummer. He's out, California, doing things for all sorts of different bands right now. So we had him, and propelled from there, did a few self-released records on our PC computers with Cakewalk and other software that you could record yourself with a one microphone in the room hanging down. You had the drum set and everybody, playing around. It started from there, and then it just went into our junior year of high school, which was, I think, 2003, and from that point, it kind of fizzled out. We stopped playing. And as of, I guess, end of last year, I kind of wanted to restart it again, myself, and start making music again. So, I mean, in a nutshell, in a very simplistic way, that's kind of how it came to be and where it is today.
And also, well, I do know this is over 20 years ago, this show, but I saw this on your Instagram, and I really just love the nostalgic vibe that this flyer gave. I didn't even get the opportunity to be at this show, But just looking at the flyer, man, brought me back to a very simpler time in my life. But March 7th of 2002, you guys actually played the Bash on Ash show alongside Rodeo Vega, Silent Heroes, and Drop Dead Uneducated. I was wondering, from what you actually can recall from that particular show, can you tell us a bit more about that? And of course, what was it like actually be able to play at that venue? Because I've heard many stories that it's actually now been gone and demolished.
Yeah. So that was a great show. That was kind of like, I would say, during the nostalgia times of the band. That was, I think, one of the last shows before it had officially closed. And, there was a lot of family there. There was a lot of friends there. It was just a really intimate crowd. There wasn't a lot of people, I'll admit, but there was people there that mattered, that needed to be there. You know what I mean? That made it worth being there to play. And the sound setup, the way it looked, it was a phenomenal show to play. We played a song. We'd only play this song every so often. It was called Final Hour. It's I think the video you're referring to, where we're opening, and that was a really special song to us. That was the song that our drummer, before he had left, Earth, he had passed away. That was the last one he had written, and we kind of taken that, rewritten it, revamped it, and then I had played it there, and it was a pretty special thing.
And also, as well, the following year after Bash on Ash, you guys actually recorded and released the record titled the Cockman. Cockman Prophecies. My apologies there. I was wondering if you can actually tell us the story behind that earlier release project, man. And of course, is it actually still out there today in 2023?
You know what? I'm so glad somebody's finally asked me about this, because it's like I always feel like when I talk about this, I'm telling somebody. So it's finally good to get asked the question of what this is. So first off, what the Cockman? So it's pronounced Cockman. Think of a rooster, if we have to, be good on the airwaves.
Oh no, we're completely uncensored, man. So definitely,
so
I actually literally got twisted up on the words of prophecies. I was trying to get it out. My brain was telling me, but it was not rolling off the tongue. I had one of those moments.
So think of the story of the Mothman prophecies.
I have, yeah.
All right. So we got, and it's pronounced, and I know it's such a weird name, L.I.F.O. People would call us L.I.F.O. There's no real good way to tell somebody how it's pronounced. We called it L.I.F.O. It's L.I.F.O. But anyway, the Cockman prophecies is this. It is basically based off the Mothman prophecies, where a special entity would come to you in the middle of the night. He would creep in through your window as you're sleeping away, and he would whisper into your ear the next date you would get laid. And that was the whole idea of the Cockman prophecies. Is that was it? Because we were a really jokey kind of band. Again, it goes back to a lot of what we were influenced with. I mean, it was Blink-182 and a lot of fun, type bands at the time, New Found Glory, those types of guys. Everybody was partying and having a good time. So it was all about that. And so we wanted to kind of do our own thing with that. So yeah, we released that. It's not out there. I have old, CDs of it, but again, the quality is not great. And to be honest, when it came to talking about bringing this kind of back and me keeping the name and all that stuff, I'm not going to say any back and forth or anything. There was a mutual understanding, I would say, as a politician would say, a mutual understanding that we would keep what was in the past, and we would just let Dan do what he wants now. So hopefully that answers your question.
And I got to say as well, I personally, as a fan of what you're doing now, and of course the previous, group side of things, I really hope that this understanding someday will actually kind of get a little bit, the cloth will get a little bit looser, and you can actually be able to let the fans hear this, man. Because there's just hearing the name, the Cockman prophecies. I mean, I really hear the Blink-182 just influence just in the name, man. I can only imagine how rad this song actually sounds.
There was, we had played this, it was a series of shows. It was this, and it just stays in my mind. It was one of those moments that's just like solidified, brick and mortared into your brain kind of thing. And we were playing this Battle of the Bands. It was like probably 3 days in a row, 3 weekends in a row, I would say. And I'll tell you what, Mike, the guitar player at the time, because I was originally the bass player. Now I do, I put them all together. But at the time, I was the bass player and also a secondary singer alongside Mike. And he was like, dude, we should bring, inflatable, pull animals and throw them out into the crowd. Because there was a really good, significant crowd. And it was one of those moments that was like, holy shit. It was so much fun. There were so many people. It was so much energy. It was playing with bands like Scaring Kids at the time. I don't know if you know who they were. They were out of Gilbert, Arizona as well. There were a lot of great bands that came out of there at the time, but it's so much fun. And that was when we were playing songs off that particular album.
And also, as well, speaking of shows and whatnot, you guys also had the opportunity to do a Battle of the Bands that was actually put on by New York City Pizza. I was wondering if you could actually tell us just a story behind this particular Battle of the Bands. And of course, did you guys actually ultimately come away with a W?
Yeah, we did. We did win. The cool thing about this Battle of the Bands was that at the very end of it, the ultimate, I guess, call to who had won was you had to do a cover of Break On Through the Other Side by the Doors. And so you had to do it within your own element. And so we did it, of course, a pop punk version of it, which was really cool. I cannot play it to this day, but I remember it being cool. But then you had other bands that were like, a little bit more metal, maybe hardcore. Like I said, Scaring Kids, guys like that did a different take on it that was really interesting as well. We did end up winning, and it was really cool. It was really fun. Like I said, it was like the whole town at that point was involved. I mean, Gilbert, where that had taken place, was such a small place in and of itself. So it was a really good time.
And let me ask you, what was actually the grand prize that you guys won? Because I know a lot of the Battle of the Bands back in the day, you would win maybe a gift card or money or even a record contract. What ultimately, from what you can recall, what did you guys actually win for placing first in the Battle of the Bands?
So we had won money. So I think it was like $500 we had won at the time. And back in, I think 2001, that was pretty good for a band. We were reinvesting in equipment and whatever else we wanted to do at the time. But the place that put it on was actually a really interesting place. I mean, when they had put on the Battle of the Bands, they were kind of at the height of where they were as that pizza shop. I mean, there were so many bands that came through there. We had played there all the time. They had done shows out front of their pizza shop. They had, put the Battle of the Bands somewhere else, of course, but such a cool history with all of it. It goes back, months and months and months before that point. So it was a really good time. But yeah, we had ultimately won money, and it was good because it reinvested in the band, like I had said.
And of course, jumping ahead to today, with you actually being, the drummer, the bassist, the singer, the guitarist, the whole works. On May 31st of 2023, you actually released the amazing record titled Prison Earth. I was wondering if you can actually just tell us a bit more about this album. And of course, where can we ultimately buy or stream it today?
So first you can stream it on Spotify, Apple Music, all the normal platforms, Deezer, Twitch, I believe it's also on, things like that. It's all on the social media platforms and streaming platforms as well. But the idea of the album is it's kind of like it's encompassing of the songs, I guess, that make up the album. And what I mean by that is, for a long time, the music that I used to make has been kind of like a ghost, something that would haunt me almost, not in a bad way, but it always would be there. We had lost friends at a young age, and we were playing music. We were very impressionable, and we had, it was so hyper active at that time in our lives, and we were playing shows, and we were growing up and going through puberty. It was all that shit. And then, and then it stopped. Everybody changed and went their other ways. So when I came out with this, I was like, I wanted to bring something back that really, really hit home with me. And when I say prison earth, it's meaning like the stuff I talk about in my songs. It's you're kind of chained to it. It makes you who you are. You can't escape it. And as much as you want to, as much as you wish you could get on a rocket and get the hell out of here, there is no way to do that yet. So I write music for the time being, and some of the music that comprises the album, it kind of mimics that sentiment.
And I have to say, it definitely is a phenomenal project. Do you actually have any plans to actually do any vinyl or CD pressings for us old school listeners that aren't really into the whole streaming services?
Absolutely, I would say my ultimate weak point right now is putting it to hard copy in whatever format that may be. That could be, CD, vinyl, like you had said, or even cassette. I mean, we're seeing a resurgence in all of this stuff, and I really would love to see it on vinyl. I've gotten, some quotes. My ultimate goal is really, I would like to see, maybe hopefully get some sort of, it would nice be get like a record label or some sort of financial backing to do that kind of thing, because I do have future plans for more music. I've got something planned for this fall that I plan to release with more of a Halloween type vibe, thanks to some of my fans that I have talked to about it. And yeah. So I'd like to see it get pressed. It's just a matter of time and a matter of, financial working out, I guess.
And I've seen two amazing independent punk rock labels that you could definitely submit to. Like, I don't know them personally, but I see them so much coming up just in my journey within punk rock, man. Like, People of Punk Rock Records is a great one that really distributes amazing independent artists. And also, I believe they're located in Montreal, but Thousand Islands Records as well is another great one that is like really infused with punk rock. Definitely, I would say just reach out to them on Instagram, man.
Rock and roll, yeah. No, definitely. Thank you.
Hey, you're most certainly welcome, man. And also, I believe a lot of people are probably wondering this as well, because obviously you yourself and the other members of the band came to a mutual understanding for you to continue on the legacy of L.I.F.O. But with that being said, do you think down the line that other members might actually rejoin the band and kind of rekindle like the original flame that was there back in the early 2000s?
I think as much as I would want that to be so, as much as that would be how it should be, I don't think so though. Everybody's kind of went their own way, and I respect that. It's to be honest with you, we were right before I released these songs, we had a song called I'm Tired, and it was a really, really awesome song. It was the catchiest one out of all of them. It was a really, really fun song to play, and we all agreed, hey, we're going to record this. Just to, we'll record it. Them two, are in Arizona. I'm up here in Nevada, in the northern part, but we're going to make it work somehow through a digital interface, and that just never came to be. So I just don't. I mean, everybody's busy doing their own thing. So to me, it's like, I just gotta. I'm going to do this. We've got a lot of other good memories to keep alive with this. So, yeah, I'm just going to write it out, and hopefully, I find, members that want to play live, and maybe eventually want to contribute in the writing process, eventually.
And also, I have to ask, man, what is next for yourself? And of course, L.I.F.O. Is there anything we happen to miss during this evening's interview? Anything else you do still want to touch on, talk about, or promote? We still got you here live on 99.9 Punk World Radio FM this evening.
Yeah. So again, thanks for having me. Something I do want to say is I'll be releasing some music this fall. So it's going to be kind of like a Halloween themed, but pop punk type, Misfits-esque kind of influence stuff, which is some of my absolute favorite stuff to ever exist. So it's going to be some of that. That's going to be released, and then I'm also working on a future full length album as well that I'd like to release sometime late next year. Other than that, you know, I've got everything streaming. I've got my Instagram. I try to keep a social media profile pretty low key. I don't know how that fares in today's world, but it is what it is. The music is out there, like I said, on all digital platforms. And just touching back real briefly, I do plan to press it to vinyl and or CD eventually.
And before we part ways this evening, if you can, what are your social media handles? That way our listeners can actually follow you and stay updated everything you got going on.
So for Spotify, if you just type in L.I.F.O, there's a few other, I think there's about two to three other groups that come up, but they're pretty non-existent. They haven't really done anything in the last, I don't know, 10 years. But if you look up L.I.F.O, L.I.F.O, you'll see Prison Earth, you know, the guy on the cover doing this. You'll be able to look it up. It's L.I.F.O Music on Instagram. And I think that's about it. Everything else is just L.I.F.O Music. You can find that pretty much anywhere you'll see me.
And I got to say, first and foremost, Dan, thank you so much for just giving us a little bit of your time here this evening, signing into the radio station airwaves and just talking the amazing history of your band and what you're currently doing, and of course, what is yet to come, man. I'm super stoked to hear that new project when it does drop sometime next year, man. But for now, definitely have yourself a phenomenal night, and I'm pretty sure we definitely shall talk again soon.
Absolutely. Again, thanks for having me. You have a good rest of your evening as well.
Hey,
Appreciate
man,
it.
you are most certainly welcome, Dan. Thank you so much again.
Yep. Bye.